Caribbeanology. What is it? Stay tuned while I gag through this tea. Hi, welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. Well, today, one of the first things I want to talk about here is the title of this channel, Caribbeanology. And some people may figure out what it's about, but for those of you who are not, it's pretty much study of the Caribbean, love for the Caribbean, talking about the Caribbean, but we're not just limited to that topic. I'll probably talk about a whole lot of other things, but for the most part, it will probably always come back to something to do with the Caribbean. Well, the first thing I should do is probably introduce myself. And for this channel, there's some older videos that you will find on the channel that some of you may have a conniption looking at. Probably have heart palpitations because some of them are rather controversial. But I'm sort of getting back to my first love, the Caribbean, where I was actually born. And to introduce myself a bit, or at least to give you a little bit of a background to my connection to the Caribbean, let's just start right here. First of all, I was born on St. Thomas in the United States Virgin Islands. Love it. Now, for those of you who are watching this video like Saint where is that? Believe it or not, there are people that do ask that question. St. Thomas is actually an island about 40 miles east of Puerto Rico. So if you have a map, it'll be someplace in this direction over here. That's the United States up there. So it's somewhat down below down here in the Caribbean chain of islands. That is where I'm from. St. Thomas is one of 4 islands that make up what we call the United States Virgin Islands. It was formerly called the Danish West Indies up until 1917. But the United States purchased the islands in 1917, and ever since then they've been known as the U.S. Virgin Islands. St. Thomas happens to be where the capital of the Virgin Islands is, Charlotte-Amalie, and that is where I was born. So again, I am from St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands. But interestingly enough, I was actually raised on another island, and that island is known as St. Kitts, which is about 150 miles southeast of St. Thomas. That is where my father is from, and that's where I was raised for roughly about the first 8 years of my life. I went there as a little baby, and that's pretty much where I grew up for those first few years, when St. Kitts was still basically under the British flag. It was still basically a British colony at that time. My mother, on the other hand, is from nearby on the island of Nevis. And St. Kitts and Nevis, those 2 islands, make up one country to be the smallest sovereign state in North America, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. That's where my parents are from. Now, to broaden that a little bit more, my stepfather, he's from the island of St. Martin on the French side. So for those of you who are familiar with that island, you know the southern part of that island, or the lower half of that island, it's Dutch. The northern half, the top half, it's French. He is from that French side. To broaden my connection to the Caribbean even more, my ex, she is from the island of Jamaica, an island that I've been to probably about 20 times. And I know the island extremely well. Know it very well. Been all over the place. Now a lot has changed since I was last there, but I'm very familiar with the island. Traveled all over, up and down, up hills, down valleys, mingled with the everyday people. As a matter of fact, when I used to go there, I never used to stay at any of the resorts or anything like that. I used to stay in the heart of Jamaica. And for the Jamaicans watching this video, I used to stay in the town of Christiana, which is in Manchester Parish, near Mandeville, which is more or less towards the west central area of the island, up in the hills where it's rather cool. So I wasn't out there doing the tourist thing. I was there doing the everyday thing like everybody else. So that was my connection to Jamaica. So I tend to know about that island quite a bit. My current wife, she's from the country of Guyana in South America, not to be mistaken with Ghana in Africa. A lot of people make that mistake. As a matter of fact, I went on vacation there last year, and when I came back to work, someone said to me, "Hey," or asked me. They said, "Hey, how was Africa?" I was like, "Huh? I didn't go to Africa." Then it dawned on me, he thought I went to Ghana. So not Ghana, which is in West Africa. This is Guyana, which is in South America. Okay? And for those of you who are not exactly into maps or know your geography too well, so South America is right here. So she's from right in that vicinity right there. Again, that's the United States over there. Okay? Well, I'm pointing to Mexico right there. So, been to Guyana 7 times, trying to make it 8 very soon. And speaking of that, would you believe I was supposed to be on vacation right now, back home in St. Thomas? I should have been gone 2 days ago, down to St. Thomas to see my mom, to enjoy our carnival, to have fun, eat lots of good food and everything. But the coronavirus has locked us all in. My flight has been canceled. I can't go unless I want to swim or if I can walk in water, but that's not happening. So I'm stuck here until all clear is given for me to be able to get up and be able to go back home. That's an annual thing that we do. I'm just not able to do it this year, at least not for right now. So needless to say, I'm pretty disappointed with that. But in terms of the Caribbean, one of the reasons why I am focusing on this or bringing it back or bringing my channel more around to this, it's because when people think of the Caribbean, they think of 3 things: rum, sun, fun. And I've always said that's all fine and dandy. But my thing is, we are more than that. The Caribbean is a region of the world that has a rich history. Now, no, you may not see any big documentaries on television about it or anything along that line, but that does not diminish the fact that the Caribbean basically served as a support system for Western Europe. I would even go as far to say that without the Caribbean, without those Caribbean islands, places like England, France, Spain, Denmark, the Dutch, probably would not be as wealthy as they are today. Perhaps they may have been. They may have found some other way to have their wealth. But a lot of wealthy families and a lot of money that still circulates in those areas were made or was made in the Caribbean region due to sugarcane when sugar was king. And they made these fortunes on the backs of enslaved Africans. My ancestors, your ancestors, if you're here watching this and you're from that region of the world. And they made great fortunes. There are families right now in England that are still living off of that money that was made 200 years ago. Great wealth it produced. And the Caribbean, what used to happen with those islands down there back in colonial days was that when the European powers will have their wars in Europe, it affected what went on down in the Caribbean. So one minute you can have an island like St. Lucia that's under the British flag, and the next day they're under the French flag. So there was a lot of intrigue, a lot of suspenseful things that happened in that region of the world. And I don't think our story is often told, or because we're smaller islands on this global map, it seems like we're insignificant. And today, many people may just not even know what's going on. They just go down there to see our beautiful beaches, they see our lovely landscape, and it's like, hey, let's go have some rum, which is a legacy of when sugarcane was king. And they go down and it's like, hey, we're going to go party, we're going to go down there on the beach, and we're going to have a blast. That's all they think about. Not realizing that there's so much rich history on those islands, and not just the islands. And I want to let everyone understand that when I say the Caribbean can have different definitions. There's the geographical Caribbean, which is the Caribbean chain of islands, which most people think of, all the way from Cuba or the Bahamas, if they want to include them, all the way down to Trinidad. way down to the south of the chain. But other people would go ahead and say, no, we need to include places like Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana. Other people may say, hey, don't forget the uh, the coastlines of places like Venezuela, Colombia, Honduras, El Salvador, um, and did I mention Nicaragua? Don't remember. And Honduras and those places, because they do touch the Caribbean Sea and they do have a Caribbean feel to the culture along those coastlines. So we can't forget about those places. So the Caribbean can have a really narrow definition or it can have a wide definition. But when I talk about the Caribbean and when I'm thinking about the Caribbean, I think about the broader definition that includes all of these places. So this channel is to basically bring back an appreciation or to highlight or to bring about an appreciation for where we come from, the Caribbean. I'm very proud to be from that area. I love when I land on a Caribbean island and just feel that breeze, just that invigorating breeze that just hits you. And yes, we go there for the fun, you go there for the rum, you go there for all the things that you can do. But for me, I am always very cognizant of the fact that when I walk through these areas, when I walk those grounds, that I'm walking the grounds of my ancestors who were there as enslaved people to make great fortunes for Europeans, who now, Americans, Europeans come down there, and some of them may not even know what transpired there, but they're enjoying these places. So I just want to basically bring back an appreciation, whether it be Jamaica, whether it be Haiti, whether it be the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Grenada, St. Vincent, Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla. I just want to make sure that we can talk about those places. And if you are a person and you figure that you're from some island in the Caribbean that people may not even know, like they may say Anguilla, or I'm from Saba or from St. Eustatius, people are looking around. They even people in the Caribbean looking around like, where? St. who? Sabe what? Well, you've come to the right place for us to discuss that. So you guys can come to this page, you can comment, you can give a shout out. I'll give a shout out to the various islands, the various countries there in the Caribbean. Feel free to come in here. This is home for you. If you want to talk about the Caribbean, you surely come in here. You can reach out to me, you can contact me, and you can let me know. You can let me know what you want me to talk about, which island you want me to talk about, which country that's considered Caribbean. You can reach out to me so I can talk more about those places. I'm not mentioning the Instagram pages yet. That'll eventually come up, but I think I'm going to name it Caribbeanology _1 or Caribbeanology 1, something along that line. So just look out for the Instagram page when I go ahead and create it. I'm also going to create a Facebook page for that, so you're going to probably hear it shouted out a little bit more along the line. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. And hopefully I covered everything here to explain what Caribbeanology is. Oh, and I want to also do something else, which I'm going to talk about right now. Of late, not only have I been looking at a lot of videos about the Caribbean and just getting myself even more familiar with things that I may have already known, but I have been looking at a lot of videos. I've been binge watching videos out of Africa because obviously a lot of us who are in the Caribbean, that's where at least part of our ancestry came from. So I've been watching a lot of videos. So for my African viewers who are out there looking right now, come on in, join, learn about us. Okay, learn some more about us. We know a lot about Africa. It's a place that has influenced our culture. It's a place that basically created our culture, at least in part. And so we owe a great deal to what's going on over there. So it's been fun watching people like, I'm going to call out his name, Watermaya, Mr. Ghana Baby, people like Natalie Tewa, people like Miss Trudy. I thank them for the videos that I was able to watch. I'm looking over my television, by the way, and I'm here looking at a video and on Tanzania. So it's been great looking at their videos, learning about Africa, learning about places over there and seeing the amazing beauty that's and the progress that's going on over there. You know, of course, a lot of people have this mental image of Africa as just being a poor, destitute place engulfed in civil war. You'll be surprised what you see out there. So I really appreciate that. And of course, sometimes when I do talk about the Caribbean, I'm going to be linking it right back to Africa. So for my African friends who are viewing in right now, thank you for tuning in. Come, Learn about it. Come visit us every now and again, okay? A lot of times you hear Caribbean people saying, hey, we want to go back to Africa. I want to visit Africa. I hope you guys can get a chance to visit us on our end of the world, okay? All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, again, you can leave a comment down there. You can make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can make sure you share this video with your friends. Share it on your pages. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it, okay? So until the next time, I'll see you guys here. And you know what? I'm going to call you guys Caribbeanologists, okay? So thank you again for tuning into Caribbeanology. We'll talk.